California. Mr. LaMalfa for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak about an extremely important topic that's very current and very disturbing in our nation, in our nation's schools, and the relationship with parents and their kids. Now, during the COVID lockdown, schools were closed and learning, much of it was conducted online, except for those courageous schools that did manage to stay open and teach their kids the normal way. But during this time, parents gained a valuable opportunity to see firsthand what their children were being taught in public school, and in some cases, what's in their libraries. What they found was very shocking to them. Now, we heard a conversation a bit earlier about, oh, this is banning books. If you see the content that is in some of the books, some of the so-called educational materials, it's really nothing short of pornography that's being allowed to be in there. When did it become okay for kids to be subject to that kind of material, or the performances that are being brought to their libraries under the guise of openness, where it wouldn't be really any different than what is going on in a strip club, that you'd get in big trouble should you take your kid to one of those? How is that allowed to be normalized these days? So rather than teaching children their skills that they need and the knowledge to become successful adults, these activists, whether it's teachers, counselors, superintendents, they're filling their heads with this woke, far-left propaganda and pushing radical gender ideology on children as young as elementary age. In response to the backlash, teachers and public school administrators have attempted to keep this indoctrination and these agendas secret from their parents. Unbelievable. This included helping encourage students to keep secrets from their parents about hiding their lessons plans, curriculums, trying to ban recording in the classroom, obfuscating what materials were being shown to students, and shutting down parents who spoke out at public school meetings when they'd heard about this, even so far as having the U.S. Department of Justice refer to them as terrorists. They asserted time and again that parents did not have the right to be involved in their children's education. They claimed that once children walked through the schoolhouse door, those children belonged to the state. Belong to the state. What is that? What are the echoes of that coming from? In 2021, parents across the country revolted at school board meetings and gathered to make their concerns heard in free assemblies. First Amendment protection. Now, in Loudoun County, Virginia, a father of a young girl who had been assaulted by a biological male was arrested for speaking out against the school board's decision to hide the perpetrator's history of assault against young girls. That decision put his innocent daughter and countless other students at risk. In my own district, in Northern California, a school district was caught secretly changing a young girl's name and pronouns, and even encouraging that something was wrong with her body. She was in the wrong body, filling her head with falsehoods. The counselor who encouraged this activity allegedly manipulated the young girl to keep her transitioning secret from her own mother. In both cases, parents rightfully pushed back against these assiduous attempts by public schools to force woke gender ideology on their children. Unfortunately, parents across the country have been met with state force when they have tried to assert their rightful place as the supreme authority in their children's lives. The Department of Justice, again, and famously circulated a memo calling parents who exercise these rights as domestic terrorists. As Americans gradually become aware of the rotten corruption that permeates so much of our public school system, it became clear that congressional Republicans needed to take action to support parents across the nation and enshrine protections against government retaliation. Last Congress, I introduced two bills, one that prohibits doctors from performing gender reassignment surgeries on minors, and another allowed victims of those life-altering procedures to sue those who had pushed these surgeries on them as minors. These permanent life-altering surgeries are being forced onto vulnerable children by radical activists. Mutilating a child's body is not medicine, it's not science, it's not affirming, nor is it care. As we've seen in the recent exposure of the inside workings of a Missouri clinic, children manipulated in undertaking these surgeries are not informed about the life-altering damage being done to their bodies, they're being rushed through the process, and worst cases outright lied to by the people that is somehow going to make their lives better or more in order, and that they know better who should be taking care of them instead of their parents when this harm is being caused. Doing this to a child is immoral, and it should be punished with the full force of the law. Children whose lives are permanently altered due to these surgeries should be allowed to sue for damages and put parents back at the rightful place, their God-given right to oversee their children's education, their well-being, their health, and their bodies. I yield back.